All right, so are you ready to like totally headbang our way back to 1982? Because this deep dive was a direct request from you, our listeners. We're talking Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast, but like the whole album. Yeah, we've got all the lyrics, not just the title track.
Oh, yeah. You guys are in for a real treat because having the full album, gives us so much more to unpack. I mean, we're talking like context themes. Iron Maiden's just brilliant way of like weaving these historical threads into their music.
Okay, so much to unpack. Where do we even begin? Okay, right off the bat, The Number of the Beast. It's iconic, right? I mean, you hear 666, it's like, boom, Iron Maiden. But here's where it gets really interesting. Like, they didn't just pull that imagery out of thin air, right?
Yeah.
They took it straight from the Book of Revelation, like directly quoting those apocalyptic warnings about the beast.
Yeah, and it's that like unexpected juxtaposition that just hits you, You've got this like raw heavy metal energy and it's like bam, biblical verses hitting you right in the face. And somehow it works. Like Iron Maiden takes these ancient warnings and injects them with this like ferocious energy that I don't think would be possible in any other genre.
Totally. And it's not just like, oh, hey, here's this beast. They throw you right into the experience. The lyrics are so vivid. You've got torches blazed, evil chanting hordes. Like, I can practically smell the sulfur in the air.
Right. It's like you're right there living the nightmare with the narrator. And that brings us to another layer of the song because it's not just about some like external evil, Remember those lines, my mind was blank and reflections of my warped mind? And this is like a whole internal struggle happening right there in the song. A battle against the darkness within.
Yeah. It's like the narrator's wrestling with his own demons and the beast. It's like it represents the allure of those like darker impulses, right?
Yeah, you got it. And that struggle, that's what makes it universal. It's in everything we read, even like Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground or Faust. Like those stories are literally centuries old and people are still reading them because they tap into like the core of the human experience, that inner turmoil we all feel.
It's insane how Iron Maiden can take something so timeless and set it to a soundtrack that makes you want to bang your head, And it's not just the title track either. Think about Invaders or Run to the Hills, both on the same album. Like they both draw inspiration from historical events, but they're not shying away from the brutality of it all. It's raw and honest about the darker side of history.
And I think that's what makes this album so important. You can't really understand it without remembering the historical context it was written in. Like think about the early 80s. Cold War, threat of nuclear war, like that anxiety was everywhere and it bled into everything, even the music. I mean, think about it. Apocalypse and societal collapse were everywhere back then.
Totally. It's like you could practically feel that unease like seeping out of the speakers when you listen to The Number of the Beast. It's historical, yeah, but it's also like this weird echo of that what if feeling that was hanging over everything back then. And it's not like the historical stuff is all they were worried about either.
Right.
Like, remember how the song ends?
Yeah.
They don't exactly give you a happy ending, do they? I mean, did the narrator make it out okay? Did he escape the beast? They leave you hanging.
That's the thing about Iron Maiden, though, right?
Yeah.
They don't just hand you answers. It's like they want you to keep thinking even after the song's over. And that ambiguity, that's where it gets really interesting because it's not just about leaving the ending open to interpretation. It's like it's reflecting the uncertainty of the time. Like, seriously, think about it. The early 80s Cold War. It was like everyone was walking around with this question mark hanging over their heads. Like, what's next? What's going to happen?
So it's like listening to The Number of the Beast. Back then, it was almost like experiencing that uncertainty firsthand. And that's what gets me. It's one thing to sing about historical battles, right?
Yeah.
But to capture that feeling of what if, that's some next level songwriting.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what else I think is so clever? It's how they use contrast to get that across. I mean, on the surface, you've got this raw, almost primal energy in the music. But then you really listen to the lyrics and they're anything but simple. They make you think,
It's like they found this perfect balance between like pure headbanging energy and something that makes you actually think. You can rock out to it for sure.
Yeah.
But you can also sit there for hours just dissecting the lyrics.
Exactly. And that's honestly what sets Iron Maiden apart from so many other bands. It wasn't just about the music. It was about the whole package. These intricate stories that made you feel something,
It makes you wonder, like, did they have any idea how relevant this stuff would still be today? I mean, think about it. Inner turmoil, social anxiety, that pull towards the unknown. That's like the 21st century in a nutshell.
Yeah. If anything, it's even more relevant now. Think about it. We're constantly bombarded with information, news of everything bad happening everywhere all the time. climate change, political polarization. It's overwhelming, It's easy to feel like you're facing your own personal beast these days.
Yeah, totally. And sometimes you just need that blast of Iron Maiden to remind you that, like, hey, other people get it. You're not alone in this.
Exactly. That shared experience, the feeling that you get from music. Sometimes you just need that, Especially when the world feels like it's falling apart around you. It's powerful stuff. And the Number of the Beast, it goes even further than that. It makes you think critically about like your place in the world, your own struggles, and how those things are affected by like everything around you.
It's true. It's not just about escaping. It's about facing those hard truths head on. And, we've talked a lot about the historical stuff, the lyrics, but there's one more thing I think we should unpack. That ending. We've hinted at it, but it's time to really dig into that ambiguity. Because it's not just a cliffhanger, It's reflecting something way bigger. So we're left with this question mark hanging over our heads, right? And did he actually escape? Did he give in? It gets you thinking, even after the song ends.
That's what always gets me about truly great art. It doesn't just give you the answer, it makes you ask the questions. It's like a conversation, right?
With the music, with yourself even.
Exactly. It's like they're handing you all these pieces and they're like, all right, figure it out. And that's what we're trying to do here on the deep dive, right? Like peel back all those layers and hopefully give you guys some new ways to see it. Because the Number of the Beast, it's more than just the song at this point, right? It's like this cultural touchstone. It captures that feeling of the 80s, but at the same time, it goes beyond that. It's about something we all deal with, even today. That darkness inside, the fear of the unknown. I mean, it's scarily relevant.
Absolutely. And it's funny, as we're wrapping this up, I'm realizing, like, how much this song still hits. We've gone on and on about the historical context, the lyrics, the music itself. But the real reason it works is because it makes you feel it.
That's the power of music, right? It just cuts straight through all the noise and gets to something real.
Yeah.
And the Number of the Beast with all that historical stuff, the biblical imagery, the sound, it's like they knew exactly what they were doing, how to really create an experience that sticks with you.
It does. It stays with you, makes you think.
Yeah.
It might even help you fight off your own demons sometimes. So as we sign off for today, here's something to think about. What does the Number of the Beast mean to you? How does it hit you? Think about it, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.